Welcome back. Good morning again. Now it's time for our big report. Today we dive into the government's push to adopt compressed natural gas, or CNG, as a solution to the persistent fuel crisis and skyrocketing prices. Now, this initiative aims to transition Nigeria's automotive sector to cleaner energy and alleviate the financial burden on citizens.
But as the government rolls out plans for CNG adoption, the big question is, are Nigerians ready for the switch? Our correspondent Adebola Adedugba takes a closer look at this drive and the reactions it's sparking across the country. Take a look.
In June 2023, the average petrol price in Nigeria reached 532 naira per litre, a drastic increase of 208% from the preceding year. Following series of fuel scarcity this year, the present pump price stands at an average of 1,025 naira.
Last year, I used to have a fill-up of between 12,000 and 15,000. And this year, my fill-up is above 40,000.
In a bid to ease the burden of high price of petrol and also transition Nigerian vehicles to cleaner energy, the government introduced CNG initiative, compressed natural gas, in May 2023, but listed approved centers September 2024. But how well have people received this initiative?
For me, I don't want to take that risk. Let me be managing what I know for now, other than to venture into such an unknown course. At the end of the day, the regret will be very, very, very massive. So I don't want to.
I would really like to wait for when they bring it on board, and I've seen samples of people who have experimented on it, so that I'll know the outcome and at that time my decision can be made. But for now, I insist I'll stay on the one. We are in the petrol one now.
Mama repo 65,000 every day. Coprolite, àwọn èrò gan on kọ́ra torí pé kí ni wọ́n mọ́tò tí wọ́n jù. But àwọn náà tafẹ́ gbé wọn náà, epo ta fi repo almost something a day. But when we gas nísìn, mọ̀ pé gas ò lè tó yẹn.
With the campaign for adoption of CNG, there are concerns bordering on safety, but experts believe those fears are exaggerated.
Natural gas is still the safest. It is safer than petrol, safer than even the gas used at home. The gas at home is even more dangerous, more volatile, sorry, let me not use that word, more volatile than this gas. What happened in Benin is a very sorry case where some people think that they can weld the tank. The technology for CNG tanks is such that it is seamless. There is no welded part on it.
If you do it with a certified federal government center, then you are rest assured of the materials that they are using. You do a walk-around check on a daily basis. Move around the vehicle, check the cylinder area, try out to perceive smell. So the moment you are perceiving smell, so that means there is leakage. Then when you are feeling the gas, it's not advisable to stay inside the vehicle while you are feeling the gas.
It appears there's a need for continuous awareness campaigns to demonstrate the advantages of converting to CNG and possibly flexible payment options to accommodate every spectrum of the society. In Lagos for News Central, Adebola Adedugba.
And many thanks for Adebola there for that very insightful report. Now, it's very clear from just her talking to Nigerians there on the street that there are mixed feelings about the initiative. Now, while some see it as a viable solution, others raise concerns about infrastructure cost and awareness and even the safety of it. And so to discuss this further, News Central's Adebola Adedugba joins us live in the studio. Also joining us is Babafemi Oluwaseun. He's the MD, Technical Director, Verde, Dynamo Limited. Is a leading company in CNG conversion in Nigeria. Thank you both for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Good to be here.
Thank you for
when you work
coming
here,
on.
you don't have a choice, do you?
Good to be on your show.
Well, it's good to have you here because
Yes.
I've been wanting to ask. I've done some research myself because I was on the cusp of actually switching to CNG. I had done plenty of research. So from everything that you saw, there was a good side, bad side. Some people were still skeptical, and the gentleman there saying it's the safest.
Well,
are we ready?
Well, are we ready in terms of acceptance? I don't think Nigerians are fully accepted converting to CNG. They like the idea; it's affordable.
It's available. Nigeria is the largest deposit of gas in Africa. I mean, from estimations, what we have underneath the ground can last from anywhere around 10 decades to 30 decades. So it's available. But the question is it acceptable by Nigerians? You know, according to what you saw in that report I did, people have concerns about safety. Some will say, oh, you mean a gas cylinder will be in the same vehicle with me, I'll be driving on the road, so they have that fear and concerns. So I think more campaigns need to be, raised about safety and how, it's not as
the
bad,
major thing. Safety of it all seems to be the
safety should be
top of mind on anybody.
Then aside safety now, we have concerns of infrastructure for refilling, this gas across the country. From reports we've seen, we have just about 14 all across Nigeria where you can refill your gas, for the CNG use and everything. We hear NIMCO as well as NNPC saying there are 12 additional refilling stations in both Abuja and Lagos. But the concern is if you're traveling interstate, how can you shuttle that kind of journey, for instance? You might get to a certain destination where you will not see a refilling station. So those are then another concern is that people in public offices, people are saying they want to see them set the tone. People I spoke to are saying, you know what? Those in public offices have the largest fleet of vehicles. So why are they not championing the cause of being the guinea pig, the armed forces, the police force, the naval force, all offices of government from the top
to the bottom.
Exactly. All the vehicles should be CNG. So we then as Nigerians, people are saying, can have that assurance. So also adopt
lead by example. Never seen anything. And it speaks to efficiency and when they're saying they're trying to cut costs and be more efficient in terms of spending and budget, they should start. I'm about to start a campaign. You guys will be sick of me. But let's also, you talked about some of the concerns as well, but I'm more keen on pretty much your interest in this, in picking up this story. Why did you decide, editorial for you?
Okay, well, because I saw people's fear, so to speak, regarding it. So I thought, you know what, it would be nice to actually unearth those concerns people have, go out and speak to them about why they may want to adopt this initiative or this alternative to fuel. Basically, that's it for me.
Did you find anyone who was excited about it? Who was like, yay!
Okay,
that's the answer. Thank
you. Proportionally, I got more people who are skeptical about it than those interested. What I notice is people are much more interested because of the price.
Right.
It's cheaper. So if you fill your car fill up now could be about going to maybe over 40,000, filling it up completely. For the CNG, I hear to fill up your... It's 3536. Some people say 2,400.
2,000 what now?
So price.
1,000 naira.
Yeah. So
naira, of course.
So now with everything that you've said, Adebola, Babafemi, why are we seeing a reluctancy to switch?
Well, maybe because I run a conversion center. I really may not have that view because when you get to my garage, I have cars packed on the line. Now, in fact, currently as I speak, when you want to do conversion in my place, you can't pay and go in. The wait time is about 2 weeks. So we have those who have paid for the past 2 weeks begging to get a slot. So I have cars packed, lined up. Now, there are reasons why some people would say, oh, I don't want to convert. Many of them don't even know about it yet. Now, some of the bloggers, when I train people, like the last set of people we trained to learn how to do conversion, I'll teach them the business of CNG. And I told them, we should have bloggers. And the bloggers should be you who know about it. Should be those who use it. The bulk of the information you have online are sensational news. Those who know nothing about CNG, who do not use it, who have never experienced it. I've been driving a CNG powered car for 2 years in Nigeria.
Nice.
You see, in Benin, it's been on for more than 10 years in Benin. If you go to Benin, you'll see the queue at NIPCO. If you go there, you see, some people come from there to come do conversion because we are accredited by Nigerian government, by the federal government, because Currently, they stopped the conversion company. They have stopped receiving money from people. The jobs they've gotten, the monies that people have already paid, they've scheduled people up to March next year.
And that's interesting you say that because of infrastructure, which takes me now, that infrastructure is an issue, but you said that there's a wait time of 2 weeks. Wait, hang on. A wait time of 2 weeks. It begs to ask the question, the demography of people that are queuing up for this. Because again, infrastructure means refueling. It means your car not breaking down somewhere in Shangotedo or Ikorodu or Badagry. It means that I don't want to be broken down on the middle of Ikorodu Road looking for where to fill up my gas, right? Fill up my tank. So who are these people that are filling up and where are their routes? Do you have that data?
I have the data. I'll tell you why, before I answer that, I'll tell you why your car can't break down. It's a dual fuel system. You see, we are not taking away your petrol. We are just introducing a dual fuel that is cheaper.
Sign me up right
so
now.
It means that as you're going, if your fuel finishes on, in fact, your car will not stop. The car will automatically switch back to petrol without you even knowing. You just see the buzzer that your gas, it has bars, like 4 bars. Once you are done on 1 bar, but you know the way we are in Nigeria, oh, this is my reserve, let me still manage it. So if you use it and you are going on the road and it changes, you just go ping, 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 indicating that your gas is over and you're back to petrol. So there's not going to be a breakdown anywhere. So it's a dual fuel system.
Okay.
Now, also, the demographer from the kind of people we've been seeing are the everyday people, the civil servants, who are just tired of having to use more than 50% of their salaries fueling the vehicle. They need this vehicle. Sometimes if you're already used to driving, you don't want to start entering public transport. So for that reason, some of them will go to the bank to get loans to do it. They will talk to their cooperative. Then we have the e-hailing guys. Oh, no. You don't want to hear those people's story. Imagine someone who drives a taxi, tries to make roughly, say, 50,000 in a day from maybe 7 a.m. to like 8 p.m. in the night. Then you are using almost 30,000 naira to buy fuel. Then the app will take its own. At the end of the day, you owe 50,000, maybe just 11,000 naira will follow the guy home down. That is excluding you have to fix your car, this and that. So it's almost as though they are working for fuel. So, but with the e-hailing guys coming up now and what government is doing, the 50% government is doing, because our own center is one of the affiliate partners with PCNGI. We are registered by government, so we do jobs for government. And as we speak, government parastatals are already converting their vehicles. The military. No, you should check. They are converting their vehicles because it reduces running costs for them. And when you talk about safety, it is what you don't know that you're scared about. You see, my parents didn't start using the gas cylinder at home until I became of age. They said, that thing, it can blow up the whole house. But when knowledge came about how to handle it, a much more dangerous cylinder, we are comfortable to put it in our house. Some people will even put stove on top, the small one, and be cooking. It's because you now have knowledge about it, and that is a much more dangerous fuel than CNG. CNG is like the biofuel, like the same one you get from the septic tank. Same thing, methane. The one at the dump site that keeps burning. It's the same thing, natural gas.
Right. Babafemi, I have to ask, right, you were talking about the e-hailing app, cab drivers, and them also leaning and, wanting to make the switch. And so it begs to ask the question about the public transport facilities that we have and the public transport stakeholders in terms of Kurupe, Keke Napep, and all the downfall drivers. Plus, and I hate to put Lagos State on blast, but also the Lagos State Transport Service. What would it take to have them also make the switch? Is it government-aided aids in terms of aiding them to make that switch? Because it would help with reducing the cost of transportation.
Yes.
I realized, I heard that from Ojota to Ojuelegba is 1,000 naira. How?
That's crazy.
How?
Please. Now, I really must commend the work of the PCNGI, which is, when we talk about government involved in CNG, we're talking about the PCNGI. That's the Presidential CNG Initiative. And the DG is really trying. Currently, I have fixed, we've been fixing for the NURTW union.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the yellow buses.
Yes.
So there are two sides to it. So they have the 100% conversion for the yellow buses, that's the commercial buses in different parts of Nigeria. I have done several. So they bring you the kits, and then each of the kits already has a code number on it that has the plate number of the vehicle, so you cannot switch it. So we submit the list, they approve it, then the vehicles in each of the packs come to us. We do the conversion, then we record it and send it back to them and put it on the portal. Then they pay us for workmanship alone because they supply the conversion centers with kits. So they can bring 50 kits for you. Each of those kits costs roughly around 1.2 million. And they're doing it for free. I almost didn't believe it at first until we were signed up and PCNGI came in and delivered the kits to me. I'm an importer of kits. I know how much these things cost.
I mean, these are free
and
for these
government
commercial
is being,
drivers.
so for the first time, I believed what I saw on TV.
Can you confirm these are free for commercial
Free,
drivers?
100% free. I have done several. You were in my workshop, you saw some yellow buses, they didn't pay 1 naira. So the unions can come up and tell you, oh, they've done it for us. I mean, you can
So
do
with
this.
that initiative, how are these commercial drivers embracing?
Wow.
Are they rushing toward it, or are they still concerned?
Let me
for
tell
safety?
you, the thing about it is they're actually rushing it. Now, there are a lot of them. Government can't do everything. But at least the pilot one, where you have to do maybe around, say, 500 to 600, would push others to want to do.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's sustainable for government to say they want to convert all the commercial vehicles because this is very, very expensive.
Mr. Babafemi, my questions are more technical because I drive every single
Yeah,
day.
well, there we
This
go.
guy.
So let's get to the numbers. I get 600 kilometers for every tank, which I buy about 45,000 naira. It's a 1.4 liter car, and I'm rather
no
comfortable, you know, with that cost. Please. I don't mean I'm comfortable.
It's okay.
But yeah, for now I'm rather comfortable. So you're telling me that with 3,500 naira, I could, you know, go through. Oh yeah, and by the way, for 600 kilometers, that would do me about 5 days of coming to the office and some miscellaneous activities here and there. Now, if I get a CNG conversion, how long would that full tank of CNG, of gas, take me for? How many kilometers? And, you know, what else? The use of air conditioning, does that also take a part of?
You have to use, everything will work.
Okay.
Everything, your air conditioning.
How long will it
everything.
take me for?
Now, this is what we'll normally tell people. Whatever it costs you on petrol, divide it by 5.
Divided by
In
5.
fact, I dare say by 6 with the new price of petrol.
Okay.
So it means 80%. So if I divide 40,000 by 5, I'll be getting 8,000. So 8,000 now, what of that same CNG would do what 40,000 was doing for you?
Great. However, how much the distance to which a tank of CNG would take me?
It depends on the size you're putting. For us, our own standard is this. For a 4-plug engine, we'll put in 65 liters, which you have to fill with 3,600. Now, for a V6, we put in 75 or 80 liters. Then for V8, we put in 100 liters.
Okay.
Now, so that you can have good mileage before you have to, you know, refill. But again, if something is saving you 80%, and all it takes you is just to branch by the filling station, instead of once that you would have done in a week, do it twice now.
Okay.
And that time, you are not queuing. Not like you are queuing or you are paying for very expensive fuel. You get in less than 10 minutes, you're done, because your tank will be filled in less than 2 minutes when they put that thing on it.
Brilliant.
So even if you meet like 2 or 3 vehicles there, it means that you can be out of that place in 10 minutes. And you have to do that twice in a week. For the savings that you are having, I think is worth it. Because there's always something to give to get something. But when you weigh what you're giving in return to what you're getting, then you can tell yourself, oh, it's worth it. I feel like twice a week, I spend around 7,000 naira to fuel. Now, for a 1.4 liter engine, you have more mileage. You see, if you buy 3,600 naira in that your vehicle, you will go from Lagos to Ibadan and you will come back and you will still have small gas that can still take you to the island from the mainland in that 1.4 liter engine.
Okay, just to bring also to the fray some concerns people have regarding migrating or switching to CNG.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
It's the fact that when everybody eventually migrates or switches, demand becomes high, the prices goes up. So the concern or the fear is this, cost-effective, we say it is now, might not be so again, short-term, mid-term, long-term.
Because capitalism will capitalize
yes, that,
on it.
When we all eventually migrate to CNG, which is, we have gas, like I mentioned earlier on. I mean, natural gas deposits in Africa, Nigeria has the largest underneath the surface of the earth. When we now switch eventually, the law of demand and supply kicks in. And then CNG becomes now showing up to equate PMS. So what happens at that time? How can we manage supply side of things, when demand rises?
Okay, I would say something. I'll say it this way. First, let's look at the statistics.
Okay.
Now, anywhere all around the world where they have both deposit of crude oil and petrol and natural gas, look at the rate of increase. This natural gas, the CNG from 2010 till now, what is the difference in price? It went up a little bit. At one point it was around 90-something. At one point it was around 100 something. Now compared to the rate to which PMS went up and LPG went up. You see, LPG will behave the same way like petrol because it's a derivative of crude oil. CNG or natural gas is not a derivative of crude oil. It is a gas we have been flaring, you see, because we needed to take crude oil. So the refinery does not affect it, whether you have one or you don't have one.
It's waste anyway, or it used to be waste anyway.
Do you understand me? The price of crude oil does not affect it because it's not something you have to get out of crude oil. It's on its own. And there are some reserves where it's just gas you have there alone. Now, why did LPG go up? Because LPG too was like, move away from kerosene to move to LPG. LPG is a derivative of crude oil. So whatever affects crude oil or whatever you get from crude oil would affect LPG. Then look at the statistics over the years in different countries. What is the price, the way the price of CNG has moved up after the adoption compared to the price of diesel, petrol, kerosene, LPG? That will also let you know what the trend will look like. And no matter the price of CNG, any day, anytime in this country, it will always be the cheaper alternative to petrol.
One more thing.
Oh, yes, Adebola, please take our jobs.
Go ahead. I love it. Please, go ahead.
Nigeria is the largest producers of crude oil in Africa. We have crude oil. We import petrol. Government policies are not certain.
Correct.
If you look at the trajectory, how much PMS was, 165 in 2022, it moved up to about 500 plus in 2023. Now we're tilting towards 1,025 naira. So removal of fuel subsidy, which is government policy, affected the price of PMS in Nigeria. You are saying that it would be the cheaper alternative, but then, in this part of the world, in this business climate, government policies drives, cost of price of things. So what happens if there's a policy that comes up affecting gas? Yes, we have the gas, we also have crude oil, but we're buying at a very expensive rate. We have gas underneath the earth, but what is the certainty that we may be paying or may not be paying in the next, short term or, future term? What's the certainty? People are looking at government policies not being stable, so they can't even plan, even with this our CNG. I don't mean to sound like a devil's advocate.
No, you're not. I mean,
it's good you're saying this.
Very worried and pertinent concerns.
It's good we are having this conversation. But you see, there is no government in the world that wakes up to kill its people. I hope you know.
Check Nigeria. Sorry, go on.
Okay. Well, that's what I think.
Look,
no, number one.
I mean, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm coming. At least there is no government that wants to kill the majority of its people.
Okay, that's about right. That's about right.
Then number two, Government policies, the things that drive them most times are the economic realities. All around the world, we know the price of PMS went up everywhere. Maybe not by the same margin.
Right.
Even countries that produce them, it went up. The war in the Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. Russia is one of the biggest supplier of gas. Now there's a war going on. Somehow that shoot up the prices of things.
I'm so sorry to interject. If you say we know the price of crude oil worldwide, people are saying, how come we're paying more for something you have at your backyard?
No, so I'm going to give you an answer to that, right? Yeah. And I'm going to say that the reasons why we're seeing the prices, what we're seeing, there are a lot of sides to it. It's not just a one-size-fit or it's not a single story. It's very clear that we should have deregulated our oil sector a long time ago. Mm-hmm. We did not. There were calls for it from stakeholders within, and then when we finally decided to deregulate it and also remove the fuel subsidy, it was a little too late because all of the variables that should have made it work was not there anymore. And there's a war that is brewing, and the prices of oil has got shot up. And then to now top it up, we now unified the foreign exchange, which made it even worse. So that was our issue. But if we're going to talk about, if I'm going to piggyback off of Adebola's issues she's raising here, is that if you're saying that the government does not want to kill its people, or we have not seen a government that kills its people, unfortunately, the policies that they introduce and in name of reforms have somewhat impoverished the people, whether we like it or not. And in this situation, we've seen it play out so many times, and this time in kerosene. Have we forgotten what happened to kerosene? Kerosene was cheap. It was the alternative for the common man. And then one day somehow people understood that this was expensive and this had so much money. It was liquid gold. And so they moved in the House with terms and policies that made it expensive. And we saw people migrate from buying kerosene to start using charcoal and firewood. And so I ask again, and I'm going to piggyback off that question. Are we going to see, is it going forever? Is it going to forever be cheap? Is it going to forever be the alternative to expensive petrol? Because now the reason why this is cheaper, as she said, and what everyone's observed, is simply because nobody is leaning towards it yet. If the majority of Nigerians, and that's about 50% of us, and if you do the calculation and the math, that's nearly 100 and how many million of people decide to lean towards it's over. You know what I mean? Like people would, it's done for. Because then they have to put in their profit, then they have to put in their capital, and it's, in some sense, it's still sort of, deregulated in some sense. Everyone is doing their own thing. There's not much regulation and not much guidelines of it. So what would it be?
You see, in as much as I'm not here to defend the government, I'm not a part of the government.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then, of which they may be able to tell you and say, oh, this is what we would do. But I'm looking at the economics of it, and I'm looking at what I think maybe. I'm not saying the price will not go up. It may be like that. The president has said it will be at this particular rate. Let's believe that it will be like that. But again, even if it goes up, I'll tell you something. People moved to LPG because it was cheaper, it was cleaner, it was better than kerosene. Until date, it's still. I'll prove it to you. 1 kg of LPG is roughly around, say, 1,004, I believe. Now, if you buy kerosene of 1,004, what 1 kg of LPG would do for you will still be far better.
What's the local name? Some people may not know LPG, so
bring out that cooking gas.
That's the cooking gas.
Some people
you see,
not.
Till date, you may say, oh, it went up from just 300 naira, it has now gotten to 1,400.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever rate it is right now, buy cooking gas of 1,400, then buy kerosene of 1,400. The cooking gas of 1,400 is still a cheaper alternative. Because what that 1,400 worth of kerosene will do for you right now, this one will do much more than it for you. So till date, even though it is very expensive, even though it went up so much because it's also whatever affects petrol affects it, you see, it is still a cheaper alternative. So the switch you made then is still far better. Though it could have been much more better, it could have been lesser, but you see, it's still far better.
I see where you're going. So if you want to apply what's happening now, it's the same thing. It's still going to be cheaper in the future, whether you like it or not. But Babafemi,
Yes, sir.
let's talk about that future. The entire world is moving away from fossil fuels, and CNG is a derivative. It's the waste product that comes from fossil fuel.
It's
Now, if
actually
Nigeria is
it's the
moving,
cleanest of all the fuels.
if we're moving toward the future and saying everybody should embrace it, the future might not have this fossil fuel. So isn't that counterproductive for a country like Nigeria that's got so many cars out there?
You know why I think you are not totally wrong and you are not totally right. Excuse me. There is when you are transiting, there is the transition phase. Transition phase to cleaner energy for different governments takes different times and different amounts of years. Even this country you're talking about, what is the ones that have been that have the highest success rate? What is the ratio of fossil fuel usage versus the green, the batteries and the rest of them?
Electric.
Then number two, I hope you know that in this Lagos alone, if 10,000 electric vehicles enter this Lagos, I agreed we have a problem.
How so?
Because we need to charge it.
Yeah, but then that would force the government to make sure the electricity infrastructure is up to date. So two birds with one stone.
That is why
would have
I
been
believe that the government is pushing the two at the same time.
Yeah, but maybe if they focus on one, we'd have more result,
There
better
is
result.
what they call the low-hanging fruits. When you have suffering masses who are suffering, then you are trying to do electric that you know, the kind of car you drive right now, if you want that same comfort in electric, you'll be paying like ×3 to ×4 of the price. Now, the over 11 million vehicles we have in the country, we should throw them away. For a man that is still trying to feed, to buy fuel of 1,000 naira, they're telling him to go and buy electric and go and be charging in one solar place at how much, maybe to fill up your car, maybe you charge for like 1 hour, you pay like, say, 5,000 or 10,000 to charge. Or you want to use the electricity in your house that the bill is really very high, the one that is not even enough for us to on light. So let us move in the pace. What is what is workable that we work with. Maybe in the next 10, 20 years, we can now start phasing out. Fine. But now, let's solve the ones. It's a low-hanging fruit for us, the CNG.
I will say something that you have enlightened me personally more about CNG. I am back on that train now, and perhaps maybe it's something I will.
You should visit us. We'll do a good job for you.
Too.
So a car like Mazino's, if you were to change it, given the specs that he rolled out here, how much would it cost to switch it?
Okay, as much as I don't want to give, I'll just give a range. I'll give a range. It's for the common man, it's quite expensive. I kind of think, and I think the banks need to come in here. You see, we can't leave everything for the government. As much as I don't want to, I'm not an advocate for the government. I'm a private person.
Can I afford it?
You can afford it. I can see it, right?
I'm not a common man.
No. You can afford it. If you can buy fuel of 40K, 45,000, 50,000, you can afford it. So it's within the range of 1 million to 1.3 million to fix a 4-plug car. For a V6, is around maybe between 1.2, 1.5.
And their wait time for 2 weeks?
No, to fix the vehicle takes roughly around 2 days.
Wait, you have a wait time of 2 weeks?
Wait time because now we have a lot of customers on our neck.
That's what I'm saying.
There's
so
a
you're
lot of
making
people who can afford it.
The people who can afford it.
Then just to add to what you said
Oh,
about...
Adebola, I'm so sorry. I would love to let you add to it, but we are out of time.
Okay.
But it's what happens when you have
Very
brief.
briefly,
Yes.
beyond making it affordable for all spectrum of the society, I mean, the average Nigerian might not be able to afford that chunk of money to switch immediately. I think Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekpo, needs to come out much more, do more campaigns about it. Also, National Orientation Agency, they need to also come out,
not just for PCNGI alone.
Yeah, and then more enlightenment and campaigns about CNG, basically.
Thank you very much, Adebola.
And we're more than here to to sound the alarm. The most important thing is people are concerned about the safety of it and whether or not it's safe to be able to have two means or two modes of power, that is CNG and a PMS in their vehicle. And I think that's very much of a concern. And also to the private sector, this is another means of doing business. Once again, many thanks to our guest, Adebola Adedugba, News Center's very own, and of course, Mr. Babafemi Oluwaseun. He's the MD Technical Director of Verde Dynamo Limited. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.